Dean Withers, a young former Trump supporter who now, of course, he eviscerates the right. He hosts a podcast called One Woke Teen versus 100 Trump Supporters. Really shared in a recent episode an encounter where while he doesn't believe the GOP, including Donald Trump, can't stand black people.
All right, hey, I just want to be clear here. Republicans hate black people. MAGA hates black people, right? So if you're watching this and you're a black person, MAGA hates you. They hate you. They loathe you. They despise your existence. What's my evidence for this? We've been live for about an hour now. We haven't had one Trump supporter come up here and tell us why they support Trump. No, we haven't. We haven't. We've had maybe 20 people come up here and scream the N-word, though. Republicans are more willing to slur. Republicans are more willing to hate crime. Republicans are more willing to despise you for your existence if you're a black person watching this than they are willing to give one intellectual reason why Donald Trump is a good president. So for everybody watching, I mean, I'm talking about the 2.2 thousand people on YouTube and the 7.3 thousand people on TikTok. This shit should be radicalizing you. I'm being so fucking real. This shit should radicalize you. How scary is that? The millions of Americans that support the president we have today don't support them because of reason, don't support him because of fact, don't support him because of logic. They don't support him because of anything in alignment with reality. They support him out of hate and disdain for you if you are a black person, right? And once again, the fact that we have had 20 people come up here and vocalize their explicit hatred for black people, instead of giving one argument for why they support Trump, one reason, talking about the economy, talking about his policy, immigration, foreign affairs. No, it's just the N-word. So if you're a black person, if you're a brown person, if you're BIPOC, MAGA hates you.
No lies told, Randy.
I mean, water is wet. Water is wet. I mean, of course, there are a few step fetchits who think differently, but I think the majority of black people are very clear that we are hated. That is what MAGA is about. They are not about so much what they're going to do for others, but what they're going to do against others to oppress others. I mean, the name of their game is the oppression of anybody that is non-white. They definitely hate black people, but, I try to make people understand that I've never met a bigot who was targeted. And by that, I mean, if someone hates black people, we may get it the worst and first. But they are xenophobic. They're not messing with Jews. They're not messing with LGBTQIA. They're not messing with Hispanics. So, we're in this together, whether they realize it or not. I think a lot of people are having wake-up calls right now as we speak. And that's part of the reason that, the election went the way it did, is because some people were fine as long as black people were going to be hurt. They knew black people would be hurt. They didn't realize that they, too, would be targeted as well. But, yeah, I mean, it's people will listen to, if I don't know anything else, I know people will listen to a white person and trust a white person telling them about their own people before like me or you say it. So it's great that this young man is just calling a thing, but I don't think any of us are sitting over here in shock and awe about what he's saying. It was not a revolutionary statement here. We know.
But his audience is not our audience, and he needed to say what needed to be said, because right. Joe, what we have to recognize,
they will believe him.
Yeah, I mean, so it was critically important, I think, for him to say what he had to say, because what we have to recognize, and again, this was literally the basis of my book, Why Fear. while the browning of America is making white folks lose their minds. And I called it. And I hate the fact that I called it, that I saw it, it was coming true. But we have to recognize that, I mean, look, I saw a piece earlier where one of the Proud Boys, they were like, oh, we don't have to protest anymore because we're now on the inside. We're now mainstream. Our viewpoints, oh, we're good. That's literally what the racists are saying, Joe. We're good. They are embracing us.
Yeah, and so from where they stand, things are being well taken care of. What I like to say is, are there Republicans out there that that'll say that they don't hate black people and kind of mean it? Yeah, sure, there are. But here's what I say in response to that. You can say that I'm cool. You can say that you're a Reagan Republican, which isn't a whole lot better to me, or a Bush. Let's say a Bush 1 Republican. I'm a HW Republican. But the HW Republicans aren't the ones in charge. I mean, how long ago does it seem that George H.W. Bush actually supported? It's a little watered down, but the 1991 Civil Rights Bill. How long ago does it seem that George W. Bush supported some initiatives in Africa? How long ago does it seem that some folks that were on that side of the aisle acknowledged that some other folks had a right to exist, even if there were some very honest disagreements? So at the end of the day, what I tell people is that, well, if you don't hate me, if you don't, if you're a quote good Republican or whatever, well, the good Republicans aren't the ones that are running things now. They aren't the ones that are in the White House making decisions. Good Republicans are getting run out of town. Okay, and so at the end of the day, Joe, 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 I got to disagree with that because here's why. Yes, there are never Trumpers. They exist. But there are people like James Baker, who was called a statesman, who was President Bush's chief of staff, who was Secretary of State. And the New Yorker did a story on him, and he made perfectly clear. Do I like some of the things that he says and does? No. I am a Republican. I'm going to vote for the Republican. So the reason Donald Trump is there is frankly because those folks have not been aggressive. Listen, for all of the talk of Trump's former chief of staff, the retired four-star general, and the comments that he confirmed to book authors, John Kelly did not come out publicly before the election and say to the country, do not vote for this man. Right.
See, and that's the real deal, because I keep saying this. Republicans like James Baker, Republicans like Eric Erickson, Republicans like Bill Barr, they personally hate Donald Trump. They personally despise Donald Trump. But Donald Trump is their Trojan horse because he is their access to total power.
And making a circle, if your guy hates me, you can say you don't hate me, but if your guy hates me and you support your guy, A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. So we get to the same place. So whether or not this gentleman is right saying, MAGA hates you and Republicans hate you and, the Republicans hate black people, whatever else, that's still how it shows up. The book says, love not in word, neither in tongue, but in deed and in truth. So if your guy is screwing me because your guy hates me and we're sure about that, and you look the other way for whatever reason while your guy does what he does, then you're right there with your guy. And that's what it arrives at, for sure. It might arrive for a different reason or a different way. But at the end of the day, if he's your guy and you support your guy and he hates me, then you might as well hate me because it has the same effect.
You know, Mustafa, there were some racists who were fired in the first term of Trump. They're now back, and they got promotions. And so, all gloves are off. These people, they don't care. They are full on embracing of racism. And we all know Stephen Miller is an absolute white nationalist. And so if you are a racist in America, you have a home in MAGA world. In fact, you got some white folks in Arkansas who literally are building their whites only community. They made it clear they don't want any blacks there. I can guarantee you we don't want to live near your asses.
Malcolm X once said that power never takes a back step, only in the face of more power. And that's what we see going on right now, is that people are comfortable with doing the things that they always wanted to do and saying the things that they always wanted to say because they have an administration that backs it up and that amplifies it. And not only do they bring it forward in words, but actually in deeds, because you can say lots of things. I always evaluate your actions to know exactly how you care about me. So when you dismantle diversity, equity, and inclusion, even though you understand that there are disproportionate impacts that are happening in housing and transportation and jobs and the environment and healthcare, then that shows that you have little regard for me. You might actually hate me because you understand the impacts that are happening there. When you make it more difficult for education to actually happen and to make sure that there's real equality in that space, then that means to me that you hate me. When you look at the undermining of civil rights and of our museums as an example of where you want to do erasure in those spaces, then that sends a very clear message about how you see me. When you have individuals who are talking about cash bail, and when they send the National Guard and other law enforcement into black cities, DC is one of those examples, and that shows exactly how you feel, not only words, but in sets of actions. When you slash funding for all those federal agencies that have a responsibility around, whether it is the climate crisis and these hurricanes and everything else that happens, or environmental justice, and you say that it no longer matters and those impacts that are happening, then they're very clear about, one, that they have power in this moment and that they're going to utilize it to put you in greater harm. And then, of course, all the economic impacts of stripping away rights that folks worked for decades upon decades to just begin to address the wealth gap in our country. They are very clear about how they feel about you. And then if you just want to look at whom a person surrounds themselves with, all you got to do is look at the White House. All you got to do is look at these federal agencies. And it's very clear about what the mandate is and the paradigm that they're operating from. But some folks still want to keep their eyes closed. Some folks still, even though you see exactly what's playing out, you want to find and justify, well, that's not really what they're doing. That's not really how they feel. And it's just amazing because, as Maya said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. You still have folks who don't believe.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.